Jason Terry, good defense. Wade from behind takes it away. Chalmers, pull, James! Whoa!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Run the Break podcast. I am Big Baby, aka the Wise Brother. To my right, sorry, fuck the Celtics. just. We were told. I was told people had a problem with the intro. So, fuck the Celtics.
Hey, Carl, it's all love at the end of the day. Listen, again, if the hit list wants some smoke, listen, the hit list wants some smoke. So, therefore, Run the Break had to fire some smoke back. So,
yes.
Back to you, Drake.
Absolutely. But to my right, my co-host, Shot Biz Ronnie, aka the People's Champ, Randy. What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir, man. I'm cool, man. First pod of the new year. Feels good. Last week we got the first one out. Got some great reviews, especially from Carl, who I sent the episode to. He kind of liked the vibe that we were doing. It just felt good, just getting back in the saddle and talking, just hooping again. So this was pretty good.
Absolutely. It definitely feels good to just talking ball and everything around it. Past, present,
and
future.
Yes, sir.
So
yeah.
But, the NBA has been on once for about the last 7 days. So
yeah. But that's good though. It's a positive thing though. Like any press is good press for the NBA. So it's good that they're in the limelight like this. They deserve it, especially how they did on Christmas Day. So they deserve this.
Yeah, because the NFL totally fumbled the bag on Christmas Day, thinking that they were going to outbeat the NBA. They pulled all the stops out, even getting Beyonce, but
they only tuned in for Beyonce.
Right, people only tuned in for Beyonce.
Like they wasn't care about no damn game. Shit. Like seeing the Texans lose. Seeing the Texans lose so bad, like in front of Beyonce too. They were home, and you lose on to the hometown hero.
Beyonce.
The hometown hero? Nah, bro. Y'all asked for that.
If I was Beyonce, I'd be like,
never again.
Never again. Don't ask me to do this next year.
Nope.
Don't ask me to do this next year. But speaking of just hot shit going on, the Miami Heat has suspended Jimmy Butler for the next 7 games due to multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team. As a Miami Heat fan, I'm kind of like, whatever. Not because, I don't like Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler. But my stance has always been I'm cool with player empowerment. Players wanting to act, being able to move freely as they go. Mm-hmm. To an extent. But I also feel like sometimes the management also has too much power in how these things go. Like if you're unhappy at your job and you wanted to raise at your job and you were unhappy, but say if you wanted a raise, right? Your job wouldn't give you a raise, and now you're unhappy. What are you gonna do? You're gonna look for someplace else to go that's gonna give you the money. And that's how I pretty much look at the Jimmy Butler situation. In Miami, most of that situation, the Miami Jimmy Butler relationship should have been done probably at least 2 years ago. They have not put pieces around him to succeed. You still have Duncan Robinson on a nasty contract. Tyler Hero is turning into the player that y'all want him to turn into. Cool. Bam Adebayo is still balling, but the rest of the pieces around you are not championship contending pieces. So Jimmy Butler has spoken out. Pat Riley don't like that. He's been suspended 7 games, but now the Players Association is going to go up against that. They're gonna
try to appeal.
They're gonna appeal the suspension. What are your thoughts on it?
I look at this as twofold. For one, like you said, I am for player empowerment in the league, but in the same token, I see it from Pat Riley's side. Jimmy Butler's on the wrong side of 30. He's missed a lot of games in the last couple of years in his Heat tenure. This is he's entering his sixth season with Miami, I believe. He was there since 2019, so this would be year 6. So in that time, you've been to 2 NBA finals, you've been to conference finals, you've had some, playoff success. However, when your star is aging, you're kind of on the fence of giving him that extra contract. And, Pat Riley is no stranger of doing this. He did this before with Dwayne Wade back in 2016 when Father Prime had a hell of a playoff run. And obviously you knew he was declining, but at the same time, like for everything Dwayne Wade did for Miami, he at least deserved a good payout his last major contract before he retired in 2019.
He deserved the Kobe contract.
He deserved the Kobe contract. And when Pat didn't give it to him, it felt like a slap in the face. And again, you look at 2016, it's not the first, again, I said it's not the first time. Let's go back to 2003 with Alonzo Mourning. Everything that he did for that franchise when he arrived in 95 from that trade from the Hornets, like you knew that Zoe did everything for that franchise in the years that he was there. And up until that point, obviously the kidney situation that kept him out, he had to get surgery, he had to get, back to health and all that kind of stuff. And I think Pat in his way felt like he needed to recoup some of that time because he spent so much time on the Pine between 2001 and 03, which is why he went to New Jersey, for that lone season before he went to Toronto, that weird year, that basically happened. Nasty work, by the way.
I forgot he even went to Toronto.
So for this situation, he was part of the Vince Carter trade, from what I remember. And then, like, from what I do know about that situation for Pat Riley, like, he is known to do this as a pattern of behavior in his 30 years as Miami Heat president and minority owner. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, yes, he deserves his money, but at the same time, there has been certain antics that he's done that's enticed Pat Riley's hand in this situation. So again, it's a twofold situation where I'm on the side of Pat, understanding like, like he's getting a little older, and to protect the youth of the team, he has to figure out a better, number to keep Jimmy. But Jimmy, when you get older, you're trying to get that last big payout, and regardless if you're at that level or not, you perform to get that last payout when it's time. Because Gilbert Arenas said it best: when they give you an extension, is not because of basically like, what your next contract's value is going to be. It's basically what you've done for me now. What dictates your next contract is what you do after you get it. And for Jimmy Butler, it's like, okay, you've been to 2 NBA finals, but the last season or so, you were hurt and you were unreliable. You haven't been playing to your best, especially in the regular season. You pick and choose when to play games. And then off the court in the summertime, he had a video talking about, the Knicks' success in the offseason, talking about Josh Hart, saying the fact that if he was playing in the playoffs, it would have been us against them, and that, whatever would have happened. Pat Riley is protecting his team by saying, listen, we've conducted this franchise in a way since I've gotten here, I expect a modicum of respect when talking about what we're doing because we didn't do it last year. Right. Jimmy kind of does, Jimmy put himself in that situation. I'm not saying it was right. I'm guessing it was tongue in cheek, but at the same time, we've known Pat Riley to know how to run the Miami Heat one way. And that's something that he's gotten from when his time as a coach here in New York, his relationship with Dave Checketts, and of course how he was in LA with Jerry West. So and Jim Buss. So you look at the patterns of behavior of Pat Riley, he has been like that, since the days he was, in LA, during Showtime. Like, this is who Pat Riley's always have been, and how he's moved. Since he left LA, he made it a personal statement to basically oversee and have control in every situation of a basketball team for the betterment or the worse of a franchise, especially with the Heat, because he's been there the longest at this point. He has put his imprint on the franchise. You got Shaq, first of all, you made the trade for Mourning. You got Tim Hardaway, in a trade as well. You cultivated a team that made the conference finals that year, or perennially, deep in the playoffs every single season. You lose your top big. You go through a couple seasons of turmoil. You lucked out with Dwayne Wade. You win the finals 3 years later. You dismantle it. Well, not dismantle. Your players got older, and then of course you had to get, you had find ways with Michael Beasley or Carlos Arroyo as your point guard, or aging Jermaine O'Neal, trying to retool, but not necessarily rebuild like other teams have rebuilt to get back to a program that could be sustainable for a finals run. You looked out for LeBron James and Chris Bosh, and you had the big three at that time frame, and you knew for that window they were only going to give you that for as much as they can give it to you. And unfortunately for Chris Bosh's case, he got the contract D Wade wanted. So certain decisions,
which I still think is insane. Like, much love to Chris Bosh, but I personally believe in paying loyalty, right? Yeah, I paid for somebody who could have left. He could have left when everybody was a free agent the first time. He could have left when they all could have went to Chicago.
That's true,
right? They all could have went to New York. They could have went anywhere they wanted to. They decided to stay in Miami. So to give the money, now Wade was supposed to get to Chris Bosh, which granted Chris Bosh is an amazing player, but Chris Bosh was not there from the jump. Chris Bosh wasn't there through the good and the bad, right? Dwayne Wade was. Dwayne Wade helped get Miami Heat their first championship. Dwayne Wade helped with the next two. Dwayne Wade is the reason why I even got LeBron James and Chris Bosh in the first place. Dwayne Wade is the reason why y'all were able to keep Udonis Haslem on the books.
For years.
So even when Wade wasn't there, right? UD stayed. UD never left. So my thing is, yes, Pat Riley does have a way of running teams, and he has been very successful at it. I'm not taking that away from him.
He gets it in his own way sometimes.
He has this bad habit of doing the mafia boss thing and just decides that it's going to be his way or the highway, and it's worked for him. But how many people are going to want to come to Miami Heat for the Heat culture if this is part of Heat culture? What stars are going to want to come to the Miami Heat to live that Heat culture? Now, don't get me wrong; they know how to draft. They're going to draft people
and develop,
and draft and develop people, and they'll probably keep these people until they don't want them no more. Like Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero could have a Dwayne Wade type tenure, not in terms of success, but he can be it in Miami for a bit.
Be a Heat lifer, as they call it.
He could be a Heat lifer.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how I think this goes. Bam Adebayo can be a Heat lifer. Mm-hmm. Again, this all depends on how this goes with Jimmy. So I think we'll see. I think we spoke about it a bunch.
Yeah.
One of the places that we spoke about last week, those are the places he can't go to now.
He really can't. It's a tough financial situation for everybody, because even if you move Beal and the money matches, if you do that, you're still at an apron where you feel like you want to build a team. Now, surely they'll be better in some respects, but it's all about depth in the NBA. And despite what the Suns might do potentially, if they were able to pull off that trade, they're still top heavy. And you need a lot more to match against an Oklahoma City Thunder team who are clicking at the right time. Obviously, we're going to talk about them, further along in the show, but you need a lot more. And you look at Sacramento, they thought about De'Aaron Fox in that trade, but because Doug Christie's now the head coach, and they want to see what Christie can do with this offense and with De'Aaron Fox to see if they can, replicate, this better part of the season. They want to see it play out before they can make that kind of move. And, you already heard him going to Miami because him and Bam, have a relationship and they want to play together. So that has been an open secret in the NBA channel. So it's like, okay, I could look at it from that perspective. Golden State, yeah, they need somebody with a shot in the arm, but if you put Kuminga up, it's like, why would you trade someone who's Jimmy Butler almost at his athletic peak for an older Jimmy Butler who you might get probably at best 75% healthy most of the time to play effective basketball? So it's a catch or catch can with where you want to put Jimmy.
The problem with the Warriors and the whole Kuminga situation is that they don't want to pay Kuminga either, right? And that's where the situation lies. They're waiting to pay Kuminga, and they gave Kuminga a contract offer, if I'm not mistaken, and it's like Kuminga's like, no, I should get more. Now Kuminga has to.
Downside too. It's a downside. It's a downside to it. It's a downside when the players know their wealth. And listen, I'm all for the players getting their money, but at the end of the day, it's like you're proving Michael Jordan right in a sense. Like he made a comment 20 years ago. It's like, kids come to the NBA for the money. Sure, the money's great. The lifestyle is great, but you got to come for the love of the game. Now, I'm not accusing Jonathan Kuminga of not having any love of the game, but there has to be a commitment to what your craft is, even though it's just basketball, and I think that's also probably the disconnect between the fans today in terms of why viewership might be down. Streaming and all that kind of stuff is part of it, but another aspect of it is in terms of, how the players view themselves in terms of the game of basketball. Because when you think about the big numbers, it's like, okay, great, and all you have to do is average that. It becomes more of a numbers game than just an actual game. It just becomes a simple game of mathematics rather than just an actual game of basketball. And I think that's also another thing that's tuned off fans, which is also a side comment.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of fans, and we mentioned this on the Your Sports Show that the style of basketball that people are looking for is no longer existent in the current league, right? So the people who've been watching through the past eras are not watching anymore because everybody's doing is shooting threes. Pete mentioned this on the show as well. BJ Armstrong talking to a bunch of college and high school coaches. They're only looking for 3 shots. What's the 3 shots? 3.
Corner 3.
Dunk. Yeah, corner 3. Dunk. Free throw. That's it. That's not how the game is played. But that's how the game is played now.
It's sad, too, because it's like there's so much more to the game. And it's like the fact that it's become... And the analytic people like Zach Lowe and all that kind of stuff help kind of contribute to that. Like, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all for efficient basketball, but basketball used to be a chess game. It's like, I got to figure out this best defense with this best offense. Like, I would say it's 30 teams in the NBA, about 20 teams. That's 66% of the league. That's more than half. Probably play the same, have the same defensive schemes. So it's easy to kind of basically map out a defense or offense that basically is the same. I think the differences is basically the players that make certain systems that are slightly different effective, like a Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana, or you see how the system for Joel in Philly, Jokic in Denver, obviously Steph. You see how those different offenses are pretty much the same, but in terms of personnel, it's a different wrinkle in it in terms of how you place them on the floor. That's the only difference. A game like last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Knicks, that was a game that, like, you see two teams getting after it and not thinking about the analytic ball. The three,
Absolutely.
the dunk. It's like, if I got a fast break, I'm trying to go and I'm trying to play you. I'm not trying to play the numbers game. And I think too many times where it's like, the crazy part about it, it wasn't on ESPN because they're promoting the college football playoff, which the game was ass anyway, but that's a different story. But
most of these college football playoffs and the bowl games was ass. I'm just like,
it's ass.
Whatever, bro. Y'all could have played this on ESPN Ocho, bro. Like, come on.
Y'all could have put that shit on ESPN Deportes for all I care. Like, yesterday was a game. Like, if you really wanted to see what basketball, the greatest potential of basketball could look like, look no further than last night. Now, I'm not saying the fact that, because I'm a Knicks fan, I love the game of, like, basketball. Like, I love if someone goes for a mid-range jumper. It was well played on both sides, even though Ben Taylor had a little bit of, I'm not going to talk.
It's okay.
Yeah. But outside of that, like, the way it wasn't just about a three. Like, you have to find ways to score when the defenses are at its best. That's what the game that people are clamoring for. Not everybody's clamoring for the 80s and 90s games. They just clamor for the players that give a fuck in terms of, like, how do I stop this offense? If he's going to get 30, I got to make him earn it. Like, if he's going to get these, I got to make them earn it. You make the defense feel you when you're trying to get into the lane and get to a basket. Obviously, it might have, gotten overly physical, but that's what people are looking for. Like, if everybody's looking for a math game, it gets boring. People are not going to tune into that shit.
No, not at all. Not at all. Right. And once it becomes more math than actual physical,
it's not fun.
Style of play. It's not fun. It's not fun. Now, you mentioned something, a Michael Jordan quote, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan also said this one thing in the 90s. And this goes into one of our first questions, that players win the championships, not coaches, not GMs, not owners. So this goes into the first question, right? Do coaches get enough credit for the team's success, or is the team success solely on how successful the players are on the floor?
Back then, I believe coaches used to get the benefit of it. Because, like, when the narrative was, even on, like, Cold Pizza before it became First Take, talked about the coaches more so than the players. Because in terms of sports talk, it was never about the players. The players are going to do what they're going to do on the basketball court. And the personalities are going to show regardless of that. That's how the game was promoted. What was always talked about, the highest talking pieces was, what's Greg Popovich going to do against a Phil Jackson against Shaquille O'Neal in the semifinals of the 2003, NBA playoffs. Like,
right.
Those are things that they check for. They're not checking for, like, how the player feels about the upcoming game. That's just something that they should already know, because there's an important game coming up. They want to basically figure out the strategy of what this other team is going to do. That's how the storytelling of the game used to be. And it shifted. And Michael, unfortunately, for as great as Michael was, Michael also contributed to the aspect of, it's the players that get the credit. The coaches get a little bit of the credit, but it's solely because of the players. Coaching matters in the NBA. Mm-hmm. No matter what decade, what era, what mathematical analytical nerd might think otherwise, coaching does matter in the NBA. And there's a reason why, like, the best players go for coaches that are not afraid to basically grab you by the horns and be like, listen, if you want to be great, I'm going to push you to be great. Damn the narrative. If you want to be great, things have to be difficult for you to understand that the game itself is not easy. That's why people don't like to play for Tibbs, because he's so hard and demanding. People used to think that about freaking Pop back in the day. They used to hate Pop back in the day. You think Pop gets love now because, he was just this, happy-go-lucky coach? They hated Pop. Pat Riley was another drill sergeant. Like, Phil Jackson was passive-aggressive because he knew how to get the best out of his players. Like, as much of an asshole George Karl used to be, he got them teams to be successful. Like, if he got out of his own way about how a star could be a star with his relationship between Carmelo and Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, maybe he would have broke through and won more championships if he didn't basically say, listen, you're not above the team. Nigga, I'm the best fucking player on the team. Like, I'm going to help my team.
I am the team.
Like, I am the team. Like, you worry about the coaching. Just get me the ball when I fucking need it. Don't tell me I got to pass it to J.R. Smith, in the corner when, like, I know I got an easy shot, or I got to give the deadlift shrimp 5 times a game when Sean is basically running to the fucking paint open for the ball that he can, exploit Karl Malone in the post for. Like, don't give me that bullshit. Like, especially when it's time.
Right. Like, I got Raymond Felton in front of me, but, J.R. Smith in that corner like this.
Like, the fuck?
Make the right pass.
Make the right, like,
no.
No, coaching matters, bro. Like there's a reason why Eric Spoelstra, despite the Heat having some very down seasons, still for whatever fucking reason, still ends up close enough to the playoffs or in a play-in spot, regardless of the talent on the team.
Coach of the year candidate almost every year.
Almost every fucking year. Him and Pop. People say that Phil Jackson's the greatest coach of all time. I've always put Pop above him. Why? He won 50 games a year. 19 years in a row. Do you know how fucking hard that is?
In the Western Conference. And not only that, be in contention for a Western Conference Finals basically almost every other year. Like, make it make sense. Like, since from the time Tim Duncan entered the league until the time he left after the first year, they won 50 games every year. Including in the lockout season, they won 50 games. Like, coaching matters in this league. Like, the Bulls in 2011 don't get to the conference finals without Tibbs as their head coach. I don't think Derrick Rose takes that step if Vinny Del Negro is still the head coach. Don't get me wrong, I love Vinny Del Negro reviving them, getting them back into playoff contention. But Tibbs got them to the next level. And kept that team, even when Rose was hurt. Tibbs also the reason Derrick Rose got hurt. No.
I mean, Rose was pretty much banged up much of that season, so that's pretty much it's on both. It's on both. Rose spent time with a bad ankle. He had a hurt knee half the season. That's also the Bull staff. It was a lot. It was up by 12. It wasn't a lot. It was up by 12. Grantley, they was up by 12 like a minute 9 remaining when he did tear it. I get it, but things unfortunately happen, And besides, tonight, they're doing something special for Derrick Rose tonight.
Yep, next year they're going to be raising his jersey in the Raptors in the United Center. Well deserved. Yeah, one of the great Chicago players. His jersey definitely deserves to be up there with Scottie, with Michael. Again, I know a lot of people feel like in order to get your jersey retired, you should probably win the championship.
That's today's fan. People forget. Yeah. Like, if that was the case, Jerry Sloan would have never got a jersey retired up in the rafters. Like they think Chet Walker is another one.
Half the damn Celtics in the damn Raptors. The Celtics got every damn Celtic alive on there.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody who damn near played for the Celtics is up in the Raptors.
Like, almost. Some idiot said, Patrick Ewing doesn't deserve his jersey up there because he didn't beat Jordan. I'm like, bro, do you know he had to get through back in the 90s to get that?
Bro, nobody beat Jordan in the 90s, and it's okay. Like,
it's okay. Ooh, like, Charles Barkley got his jersey retired in Philly. He ain't win shit. He got his number jersey retired in Phoenix. He only went to that 1 year, that one final. But at the same time, it shows about what you did for that franchise. Amari Stoudemire got his jersey retired, and it was well-deserved because of what he did for the Suns team during those years. Like, especially with him and Nash. Come on now. Like, let's not let casual fans today take away the idea of ring culture to validate someone's career. And I think that's part of what this podcast is supposed to be about in terms of dispelling all of those kind of myths. Because it's like, I feel that common basketball talk today amongst casuals, especially in their generation, I think is diluted the aspect of what ball truly is supposed to represent. And I think we got to restore the feeling.
We do. We definitely do have to restore the feeling. As far as the question,
yeah,
I'm 50-50 on it, right? Because we have seen players will their teams to playoffs and finals, i.e. LeBron James and David Blatt, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Kobe will his teams to something without the right coaches.
Yeah.
I think they have to go hand in hand. You can be the best coach in the world, but if you don't have the right players in the right place to run the system, it doesn't work. We saw that in the Winning Time documentary, right? Where, yeah, Norm Nixon was good. Norm Nixon became better when Magic was playing next to him. The whole team became better when they started to run that free flowing offense.
Jack McKinney, yeah, he was the originator. He was the originator of the fast break offense. Yeah,
right. Right. That's 7 seconds or less almost.
That was him. He created Showtime. He created Showtime.
He created Showtime, and Pat Riley just continued it on and made it to whatever he made it into.
I'm gonna copy your homework real quick.
I'm gonna copy this homework. But players and coaches, they go hand in hand.
They do.
We saw when Michael wasn't with the Bulls and they didn't win. When it was Phil, Scotty, everybody else, they didn't win. And that's okay. That's not to take away the greatness of Scottie Pippen and the pieces around him. For that triangle system, right? For that system to work, you need that one piece, that generational piece, or two generational pieces, to where you don't know where the ball is going to go. And those two generational pieces on the triangle offense have to be on the court at the same time. That's why it worked on the Lakers, and that's why it worked on the Bulls. So you can't just run the triangle with Ron Harper, Bill Cartwright, and then John Sally. That doesn't work.
Nah, don't work. Yeah, that's nasty work.
That's terrible. That's nasty drugs work, right there.
That's terrible. Can't do that, bro. Nah,
you just can't do that.
Nah, yeah.
You can't run the old '90s Knicks style of play without people who know how to play defense, unless you're a gritty person.
Yeah.
If you're willing to get it out the mud, you're willing to go get it. Yeah. That's how you run the Knicks offense and defense.
You're gonna need an ice bath after the game.
Absolutely. Right? But that's how things worked. That's how it always worked.
Yeah.
So coaches and players, they both need each other. I don't think one is more important to the other. Yes, the players go out on the floor and they win the games.
Yeah.
But in most cases, as we have seen throughout the history of the league, most great players have the greatest of coaches behind them. We're talking about great all-time players: Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, John Stockton, a lot of other people, right? Magic, Kareem. These players have had
Russell.
These players have the greatest coaches around them. Yeah. Yes, and I know, Malone and Stockton didn't win, but Jerry Sloan is an all-time coach. So
he's on that list.
Right, he's on that list. So I think they both they coincide with each other. I think one is not more important than the other. So
likewise, I think it's both, man. I also think, to close with this, I think it's both. You need both to make it work. Like you said before, Scotty and Mike needed Phil Jackson to make that triangle work, especially with the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq and how that dynamic was, and then later on with him and Powell. Mike D'Antoni needed a Steve Nash to let him realize that dream of fast flowing basketball was possible. He needed that pick and roll, high octane, 4 out, 1 in offense can work in the NBA.
Yep.
And then you look at the way he reinvented the game again with James Harden, and how shooting a volume of threes with people in the corner and creating the wing style that the league is now. He basically was a pioneer of creating a wing style offense, based with 4 guys who can shoot and a possible big who can gobble up rebounds or could possibly stretch out and shoot. So he is a pioneer in that. I do think it's a little bit of both, and you need the right people in your system to make it work.
Right. I agree with that. Now, something else we also spoke about on the Your Sports Show is when we talk about viewership, and we spoke about this last week as well on here, is the fact that we don't have any stars. And you made a comparison in the text.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA now is kind of like what the 70s was like. And I joked around saying, it's drugs. But, as I thought about it, yes.
You see where I was coming from, right?
Yeah, I saw where you was coming from when you explained it. Now, my 2 cents was the fact that we don't have any. We have superstars. But we don't have those one or two faces of the league. And in the 70s, that was the same way. Yes, you had the Doctor, you had Moses Malone, you had Bill Walton to an extent.
A young Kareem, you had Tiny
Young
Archibald,
Kareem, you had
you had
Tiny.
Clyde, Nate Thurman. You had
Yes.
guys in the league that you can promote at that time period. Spencer Haywood as well.
Mhm.
You had guys you could
Haywood.
promote the game, but outside of that, it was during the time Kareem was winning all the MVPs. Hello, Joker. You know, like you can see the parallels. You see what I'm saying. So like when I thought that last night, I'm just like, which is why I say basketball is cyclical. You know, it goes in cycles. Whereas like the 60s were like, again, like I said last week, the 60s were like, you know, the slow paced and, you know, trodden. The 70s, early 80s were very high octane, fast paced offenses where it's like, okay, without the addition of the three, and those guys used to shoot 22 feet out anyway just to show off.
Right.
And then like
they,
you look at
they shoot from back there just because.
So before the three ball, so it's not more so the volume, the high attempts of threes. It's the volume. It's the excessive aspect of it because there's no variety within it. There's not better diet in terms of how you attack the basket, you know, in terms of scoring. And then the more I thought about it, I'm just like, it's parity in the league now because we've had no repeat champions since the Warriors. You know, the last 5 years has been a different champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you look at the Raptors, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Warriors again, when they won it, and then you know the Nuggets last year, and then the Celtics again. You know, the Celtics this year.
The Celtics, yeah.
So it's like we haven't had a repeat champion in over 6 years now. So now going into year 7 of that, you know, you're looking at a league with no dominant team. You know, I might think that might be the Thunder. That are basically saying, yo, like, whatever y'all can do, y'all can't fuck with us. Like, we're gonna take over the league. We're gonna be the dominant team to win, like, to threaten the Warriors record type team. You know, people think in Cleveland, but no. But you know, they don't strike you as that. And I like the fact that they're going under the radar, which is good for them now, but it's not them. You know, so it's just like that's why I'm like, yo, this is why the league feels, you know, parity. Like on any given night, any team could get you. You know,
At any given night, any team can get you. Now, the Thunder and the Cavs, right? They both remind me of the same team. Them damn Utah Jazz teams that were in first place all the time, and they get to the playoffs and it's just nothing.
It's a little different for one of them, though.
It's a little different. It's a lot different for one of them. The difference between one of them and the other is one of them had the MVP candidate on it. The other one doesn't. The other one basically is the Utah Jazz of the Eastern Conference. So
that's the thing.
So I think OKC definitely has a chance to be a team that kind of can be Warriors-esque. But then that Boston Celtics team, regardless of their highs and their lows, they still have two superstars and the correct pieces around that team to make them the biggest threat to anybody in the league. And that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
But something about the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, into the early 2000s, when kids were in college, we were looking at them all 4 years, right? It was very few players that did one and done, and there were very few players that skipped college.
Yeah.
Now we have players skipping college, going overseas, skipping college, going to the G, going to college for a year for the NIL money. Now, what would the league have to do? Because I feel like there are less and less players who are learning the game the proper way now. because they're being one and done and coming to the league. And I'm not going to say people are coming to the league for the money, because some people are coming to the league for the money. Some people are coming for the love of the game. And some people feel like they're just better than anybody, right? We're not going to get many more LeBrons, many more Kobes, many more KGs, many more T-Macs, Dwights, Melos. We're not going to get these too much more generational talents with the way NIL is working. So what does the NBA and the NCAA have to do to keep players in there longer to help them develop more? Should the NIL
I think the NIL should shell out more money for the kids, because think about it is the only reason why these guys want to go prep to pro so bad is let's be honest, it's for the money. As much as they say it's love of the game, unless you're Kobe and LeBron with that kind of generational greatness in you, it's for the money. Like let's be honest here. Life will be better if you're honest in that aspect. If the NIL basically marketed the players that are supposed to be like the potential next big thing, they would have to basically, based on their likeness and popularity, have to pay them as such, like they were professionals. Because once you're in college, who says you can't be professional in college? People have jobs in college. Like treat college as it's supposed to be, an internship. It's a very lucratively paid internship, and you sign these kids to a contract that minimum they have to do at least 3 years. Reinstate. I want to say 3 years.
The rule. Don't reinstate the rule.
No, I'm not gonna reinstate the rule. But I would sign them to a deal, a year by year deal and make it lucrative for them to stay in school, because at least at that point you're not incentivized to basically go into the NBA so fast, because the money, you're already getting money before going to the league. So if you're really about changing the league and being the next Kobe, being the next LeBron, we want to see what you could do on this level. You can be the god on this level, so that even if you do fall back in the league, the cushion ain't as thin as it would be if you were just to think, have all this thing. Oh, you're the best thing in since sliced bread. Go to the league, and then you're on the bench for like 5 years before you get a chance to start. Because at that point, because your attitude thinks you're better than everybody. At least spend some time down there, become the shit to make it more attractive to people that want you. Because by the time you come to the NBA, you don't gotta basically go to the G League to develop, and have a 2-way contract. You don't have to basically wait for a summer league. Well, you could do that because you're trying to get to learn the NBA game. But a lot of the stuff that these guys would do between 19 years old to 23 years old, at least you're fast tracked by that because you're very developed in college. And most teams in college show you actual play. So by the time you get to the NBA, you can understand what your value is to every play that they're running. You can understand the schemes defensively and offensively. You see people that in the league now that are coming in 2-3 years in from college, they already come in, they knowing how to play defense. They know how to basically cut. They know how to do basic things guys who come out early don't know how to do, because they're chasing the NBA lifestyle. These guys are hungry to play.
Right.
So if you want to do it that way, like this should and this will also test their love of the game, which is why like Melo, the way he did it with his son Cayenne, he did it perfectly fine. Let him go through the trenches, see if he really loves the game and he's really about it. He's already getting paid going to Syracuse. He's not worried about the bag because he knows he already comes from that. That's not his motivation. That's not his why. Melo's why because he was broke living in West Baltimore and had to get out the hood. His why is like, my pops played basketball. I love basketball. I don't really need much because I already got all the resources I got here. I just want to go play and bust everybody's ass.
Basically.
And that should be the mentality of every basketball player. You see these fake ass basketball players, especially pros today, mama mentality. Like, nigga, you going for the money in a lifestyle. Like you want to be like, like you want to be like 2016 Drake, basically, doing all this type of shit without putting in the work because you think your talent is going to let you, lead you so far. And that's what Michael Jordan warned everybody about, but they called him a hater. Now look who's right now.
Like I said, he's right, but I also think it's the NBA fault.
No, it is. No, it's the league's fault too. Like I'm not these niggas off the hook either.
Yeah.
It's their fault too.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why it's the league's fault. It's not just college. It's not just NIL giving these players money. It's the league's fault, and they go back to guess what? Analytics, right? Now we're not talking about the numbers of the threes, the threes, the dunks, and the free throws. Now we're talking about they're looking at players based on their age and the players in their age group. And, for all the craziness Gilbert Arenas talks about, he talks about this all the time. How good are you as a player with the players in your age group? So if you come out of college at 19, out of 19, 20-year-olds in the NBA, what are you averaging compared to what are they averaging, right? And that's a screwed number because that 19, 20-year-old player could be getting all the minutes on a dying team compared to you being a 19, 20-year-old who may be good, may be better than that person, but you ended up on the Boston Celtics as the number 15th man. And it's messed up. It's terrible because the league, like most leagues, are ageist, right? They want to go young and stay young. They want to stay young forever. The problem is with starting out young and not having these players come in already developed is that now you have to teach some of these kids or reteach some of these kids some of the basic stuff that they should have known prior to coming out of high school, prior to their 1 year in college. So the league is just looking for win now. So they're looking at, he dropped 40 points on a bunch of kids that's his age. Damn, he should be good in the NBA, right? Meanwhile, this kid doesn't know what a pick and roll is. This kid doesn't know what the flex offense is. This kid doesn't know anything. And the love of the game, like you said, is gone. These kids don't. You're muted too. These kids don't.
Like it ain't there, and it fucks me up because it's like
basketball, bro. The kids don't watch basketball.
They don't watch it. They watch the clips. They watch the highlights. They think it's like. It's what I'm saying. It's the microwave generation, man. They think that's basketball, and it's like, and people gonna say, "Well,
it's the same that should happen with wrestling."
It's just like wrestling too, son. And it's just like, bro, it's like you're not watching. Like and that's how I look at the AEW shit. It's like, oh my god, it's like there's so much more to it, bro. Like, I'm not saying it has to be perfect like WWE or whatever, but you have to find a happy medium in terms of what's supposed to basically be the bread and butter of what makes things magical about these things, like whether it's wrestling or basketball. But since we're talking basketball, like the love of the game is gone, and it sucks because it's like I loved how like crazy KG used to just talk about the game and be passionate about it. Michael had to retire twice and come back to the game 3 times because he loved the game so much.
I miss rivalries, right?
And there's none of that either.
I miss players. I have, and that's the mindset I was always in when I played. I love playing against. I've grown a lot of friendships in playing basketball, right? Met a lot of people, done a lot of business with people who play basketball. Some of them I've actually faced. And at the time where they're on the floor against me, I'm trying to take your head off. And I would expect you to do the same to me. Or I'll be more mad at you for you not trying to play that way with me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do that with you. Because I'm trying to win the game. You have to be trying to win the game too. And if winning the game means you have to run through me on a screen or anything like that, you may accidentally elbow me or something like that, or you may have to take a dirty shot. Cool, I get it. Because I'm going to be doing the same thing, bro.
I do. It's funny because me and my brother used to do that to each other when we used to play basketball together on Saturdays. And like, there'll be times where like we're against each other, and I'm like, shit, because I know he's gonna guard me because I know I can, because I'm a good shooter. So like, fuck, I know he's gonna be on my ass, so I can't get anything off. So my thing is with him, like he's physical with me when I'm with him. Like I would use more physicality, he would use more so of his speed and quickness, and it's just like he wouldn't like. It wouldn't be like basketball and us going at each other if we didn't understand like how to basically gauge each other's weaknesses and basically go at each other on the basketball court. Like I'm going to try to score the best way I can against him. He's going to try his best to not only score and cut and make me work defensively, but at the same time, like he's also going to basically not let me get to my left, get to my sweet spot to get off a jumper because he knows where I'm going to go with it. So like that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what the game is. It's like chess.
Yeah.
Like, the game is not chess anymore, and it sucks.
I love playing against my guys. Like one of it's two quick stories. One guy, my boy named Kwani, I helped him kind of learn the game a little bit more. He knew the game. I helped him expand, and I'm not ashamed to say he's I think he's better than me now because he kept playing. I stopped. I got fat and stopped playing after a while, and then just started playing again recently. But it was the same thing, like you playing against your brother.
Yeah.
He's speedy. I'm more based to the ground. I'm more physical.
Yeah.
So the reason why I liked guarding him, and most of my friends did not like guarding me, is because you're gonna feel it when the game is done.
Yeah.
On offense and defense.
But that'd be the best kind of ball to play, though. Yeah. I ain't going front. That'd be the best runs. Like,
yeah, I don't get mad. Like I said, I don't get mad if you're physical. Just if that's the type of game that we're gonna play.
Let me know.
let me know. Let's keep it that way. Don't get mad because, like, I had an incident. I told y'all about it inside the chat.
Yeah,
dude, I hit a three on one end. I run back down, and the guy that I'm guarding, he's trying to run down, and he swipes me in my face. I'm like, are we playing like that? Let me know. If this that type of game, let me know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, again, this is really one of my first games back in like 8 years. But I'm still crazy. I'm still a psycho up there, right? He's like, oh, nah. And even if we were playing like that, the ref didn't see what I did. So what?
Say no more. Say no more.
Say no more.
Say no more. Say no more.
Say
no more, dog.
Say no more. So the ball goes out of bounds. It's his team's ball. We're under their basket. Dude is like 6'4". I don't care. I'm 5'10". I don't care how tall you are. I'm guarding. I'm going to be physical with you because I know people don't like people being physical with them. And if you out-physical me, cool. You already took – I'm a physical guy. If you out-physical me,
hey, cool, more power to you. More power to you.
More power to you.
Yeah.
More power to you. I have to figure out a different way to get you out your game or to stop it. Yeah. But they throw the ball up to him. Obviously, he's 6'4", so you're going to throw the ball up here. They throw the ball up. I wrap him by his waist and I drop him. Like I'm boxing him out, but I'm really just boom. Damn. And I look at him. The ref saw that. And then he got up. I'm already intimidated him. Most people, if I did that, you get up, you want to fight me. I stood my ground. Nobody wanted to do anything.
Did what you had to do, yeah.
Yeah, obviously I got thrown out the game, but
you got to make your presence known, man.
Yeah, I got to make my presence known. And
those are the best games.
That's the best games. And this is why I'm not too hard on Draymond when Draymond be on the bullshit.
No, but he a bully though. Draymond's
a bully. Draymond's a bully, but Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, it makes it worse.
They were
worse
bullies, bro.
Like I ain't gonna hold you. Like it kind of brought me back to a time because I remember like it was an intense game I played, and I was in Long Island. It was like North Woodmere Park, and it was me, my brother, and my boy Charles, and we were facing these some hood niggas from like South Queens. So it got physical because I remember hitting a jump shot on one of the dudes, and dude was talking shit. He's like, "Oh, he got that now." Oh, I was like, "Oh, is that what we on?" Copy. Anytime he got the ball, son, I was on it. I'm like, say no more. Like I was like, yo, Jay, if he comes down, just make sure you just let me know. Like, yo, we're gonna ice him. I'm gonna make sure he gets off nothing. Nothing. Then we won that game 21-5. Because we was cooking that. I was mad. I was like, okay, that's fine. Give me the ball. Mellow jab step, boom. Because I was studying Melo's like mid-range game heavily at that time. So I'm like, yeah. Like just give me the ball. I'm gonna get it to him. Like had good 2 or 3 in a row. Like, oh, give it to him again. I'm like, are you sure? So I'm like, nah, it was up. And then when he got the ball, when they got the possession, I'm like, yo, I am not letting you score. I don't care if I have to foul, grab, nothing. You ain't getting nothing off on me.
You're not getting nothing.
Nothing off on me. Just kept talking shit. I'm like, yo, I don't care if you're from the hood. You might stab me today, but like on this court, I'm busting your ass.
I used to love.
I love games like that.
I love games like that. I love players who just talk like, yeah, again, most of the people at one point in time was more athletic than me, right? So one guy tried to throw a self lob, and the ref saw what was going on in the game. So he throws a self lob. I bump him. I shoulder check him. I look at the ref. The ref look at me. I'm like, you know, you got to call it. He calls the foul, but he calls the common foul. Okay. Normally that he would have called a flagrant.
Yeah,
but he heard the guy talking to me. I know the ref. The ref knows how I am. I'm like, ref, just come on. Like, I got
throw me a bone, son. Throw me a bone.
Throw me a bone. Don't throw me a bone for this one. Like I said, because I'm about to use all 5 of them. So he's like, all right, I got you. Yeah. Like, as long as it's nothing crazy. I'm stopping fast breaks. Oh, why you ain't let him dunk? Why do I have to let him dunk? I'm not clearing people out the air. Not to say I've never done it before. I've done it a few times. I don't like doing that. If I can catch you, I'll wrap you up, right? But if I can't catch you and I accidentally do it, again, I'm the first person to come and make sure you're good. I'm not one of those people who check you and then not see if you're good. If it look crazy, I'm gonna come make sure you're all right. I may be physical, but I ain't a fucked up person because I know we all got to go home after this, right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's ball.
At the end of the day, it's ball. But again, that's part of it too that they're not learning in college. Someone has to be a dog, right?
Not enough dogs, man.
In you. It's not enough dogs. And man. As I said, Draymond Green, as much as his shenanigans, gets the league in trouble. I swear to you, if he was in the 90s, nobody would be saying the things about what they're saying about Draymond now.
Pat Riley would find every way to get him on the team.
Right. He would have been signed $100 million 5 years.
Especially them contracts back then was crazy. 84 for 7 years. Them shit was crazy.
84 for 7.
That was nasty work. 120 for 8 for Shaq. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. 120 for 9. I'm like, what? What? Ew, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Those were the real death row contracts back then.
10 from 125. 12.5 a year? No.
Fuck out of here.
No. 10 years?
Them contracts was nasty work.
Nasty, bro. But again, like, you have players, I think, and people are not being real with these young kids, right?
They not, because they want to keep their jobs.
Right. But like, yo, bro, too many yes men. Like, yo, you're not good enough to be in the league. But here's what you need to do. Like, that's it, bro.
It's fun. They're funneling the money system. It's fucked up because it's like it could be so much more, son. Like
the league could be in the best of hands right now. And I honestly think it will be, but for now,
everything is a cycle.
Everything's a cycle. Right. So we mentioned the Cavs and the Thunder, right?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the Cavs just being the Utah Jazz-ish. I don't know if there's much more we can really say about them. I think they're just holding the first place spot down until All-Star, and then the Celtics can be like, we feel like playing, and boom, right?
Yeah, like everybody when Boston decides to turn it up, and whatever happens with New York throughout the season, and Philly decides to turn up, or Milwaukee decides to wake up, like it's gonna be real different because they've had a pretty easy strength of a schedule to start the season, and it's just like okay. Like, y'all clown us for having a soft schedule, but it's like that's what you're supposed to do if you're a good team. You're supposed to do with that.
I say this shit all the time.
Like
you have to beat the teams that are in front of you. I say this when we talk about football, baseball, every sport. You can't get mad at a team who has a tour of like 16 teams out of the 32 teams that are close to 500 or below it. Right? Like, if half the league is ass and you're a good team, I expect you to go 16-0, right? 14-2. One of them teams might catch you, right?
Yeah, like any given night.
Any given night. But if you're supposed to be a dog-ass team, I expect you to take advantage of that ease of schedule.
For sure.
Right? Like, and the Cavs have done that. And I'm more than happy with that. Cool. Now, can you take that momentum and beat the team that you are supposed to beat? That's what we have to see.
I know the other team will.
Oh, absolutely. The other team will. The other team has shown and proved that, hey, like, we're going to beat everybody that you put in front of us. Right? Like, so I'm looking at the standings right now, right? Looking at the standings. Thunder at 29-5. So the next team is 6.5 games behind them. That's the Memphis Grizzlies, surprisingly, right?
People say the West are strong, but outside of OKC, there's
the West is looking a little Eastern Conference-ish right now. Hey, let's look at this, right?
But they don't want to. But they don't want to say because they want open seating. But no, that's another story.
No, open seating is terrible. No, do not do that.
Because they want to use
seating is.
No, it's these people. It's the Zach Lowe's of the world who says, "Well, the East are not this." But if you look at the West, which team is dominant right now? Like, it's only the Thunder.
Right. Let me see.
Like,
let me look at the East and the West. Right. All right. So, okay, the West does have more 20+ win teams than the East does. I get that. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
East is also banged up too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They only have one more team in the West that has 20 wins than the East does, right? And the Nuggets at 19-14 being in fifth place over the Mavs who are 20-15. That's just, again, that's how the schedule works.
Like, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how the schedule works, right? But as far as we're looking at, the Western Conference, the Thunder heads and tails above everybody right now.
It's not close.
Like, it's not close at all.
Mm-mm.
Like,
and that's without Chet Holmgren, mind you.
Right, and they've only lost 5 games.
No Caruso, no Chet Holmgren. Like, bro,
right?
Like, what do we?
The only game that they lost the cup game, right? And the cup game doesn't count towards their standings, right?
But
they just happened.
They still played that game though. They dogged that game still.
Yeah, they just happened to run into a hot Milwaukee Bucks team. Right? Oh, the Milwaukee Bucks currently are in 5th place, 17-15. They turned their whole season around. Right? But if we look at the Cavs, who are currently 30-4, and the Celtics, who are 26-9, 4.5 games out from each other. The last 10 games, the Cavs are 9-1, the Celtics are 6-4. And then right behind the Celtics are the New York Knicks. And then that last 10 games, they're 9-1. Out of those 3 teams, right? The Celtics and the Knicks show the most promise to me because the Cavs look like they're kind of like, all right, we're beating who we're supposed to beat. But meanwhile, the rest of the conference is in a dogfight with each other. I don't see it in Cleveland. As in OKC, I see them just beating up everybody. They look like them old Lakers that was beating up everybody.
Like, to see what Shea is doing, shout out to Mark Daigneault, the head coach over there, because he has them playing, I wouldn't say playing analytics basketball, but he has them playing in different elements of the game that makes them effective. They don't necessarily need the three ball to basically beat you. They have athleticism at basically every position. They have size. They have, they spread the floor perfectly. And they don't even utilize the three ball as everybody else does in today's culture. They play economical basketball is what I call it. They like the value of a two. They like the value of a fast break dunk. Their defense generates much of their offense. Sure, their half court set might be problematic at times because, you have to stop them, to get from certain positions. But primarily what makes them a good team is because they're going to dog you on that side of the floor for 48 minutes. They're going to wear you out. And that's what generates the 100-plus points they score every night. Last night, they played against the best offense in the Knicks last night, and that was an incredible game that I saw from both teams. It was a dogfight. What's the league's best offense trying to do against the league's best defense? And mind you, the head coach of the Knicks is a defensive coach, and he has the league's best offense. Right.
The league's irony, best offense as a defensive coach is insane.
It's insane, right? And like the way they played the game last night, that's why you love the game. They have friends on the other side of the court, but like, yo, bro, they were getting bowls, bumped, hit, text. That's what basketball's supposed to be. That's what basketball is.
That's what I want. Like, that's exactly what I want. Like, I don't like you for these 48 minutes.
Like, after 48 I hate
minutes, you. Cool. After the 48 minutes, cool. Let's go out to dinner. Let's laugh about how I elbowed you in the ribs, man. How you clothesline me, bro? Like, come on, like that's what it's supposed to be, bro.
Which is exactly what they did last night. Like, especially Hartenstein with the other guys on the Knicks. Like, that's what it's supposed to be like, for real. Like, the fact that people have kind of like forget how good the league could be with this kind of basketball. That's what people are missing. They're not missing anything like what you took out, what made the league great. You got to allow it to basically manifest and let the players decide. If you let these computer crunching nerds decide the game in terms of how it should be played, how are you going to enjoy a 360 dunk, on a fast break rather than just pulling up for a three with no one in front of you? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get it if you're about that, or if you are him, meaning Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, and anybody else outside of that, unless you them, don't be doing that. It's okay to go for a nice little acrobatic two, whether it's a lay or a dunk. Like there's other ways in the court.
Too many people are playing out their element. It is okay to not do the things that other people do. Create your own niche so that you're able to stay in the league. Pete said this yesterday. People are not staying in the league because then they haven't developed the talents to basically stay around. Like most of these players, the shelf life of NBA players is almost 3 years. So we have no vets, right? That's also
and y'all pushing them out. You're pushing them out younger and younger every year. There's no vets. Udonis is probably like the last vet outside of Chris Paul and them, but like he's probably like the last vet, true vet.
Yeah, I'm talking about a vet that don't get too much playing time,
or at
Chris
all.
Paul's a vet, or at all. They're holding that 15th spot to be basically an extension of the coach and to teach the young players and the players around them the lifestyle of the league, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, all of that. We don't have that anymore, and it will never come back. It will never come back unless the players push for something like that, right? Like I could see, like there's no reason why Dwight Howard or Boogie Cousins can't be the 15th man on somebody's bench, right? Like, and Dwight Howard and Boogie Cousins could be basically be the 6th, 7th man on someone's bench too. But there's no reason why they're not on the lower end, the 14, 15 man on somebody's bench, teaching the young kids how the league works.
And Dwight's healthy
Teaching them
too.
about Dwight is healthy, talking about their mistakes, their good, their bad, their thing, so they can learn because there's only but so much you can learn from the stuff the league puts in front of you. It's you learn better from someone who's in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
I can it's like a job, right? The trainer can teach you everything, but you will learn the most things on the job with the people who've been on the job already, good or bad. Like, not saying everybody who's been on a job is amazing, but you've also learned everything you need to learn from the people who've been there.
You learn how to move.
When I was trained for my job at American, the person, God bless the person who trained me, she trained me, and she was in the trenches still. She was a trainer, but she knew how to do everything, and she taught me everything I need to learn how to navigate while I was in there. While I was in JFK. And I've always took that with me, even in my new position the last 2 years. So it's the same thing with these younger players. These players may not stay long with these vets, but they're going to learn. They're going to get whatever valuable information that they need and take that and take it with them. But we just don't have that anymore. And we won't have that anymore.
Yeah, and the league is the league has to take some culpability with that too, because you can't say like we want to get younger, this and the third, but yet complain about the lack of development in players that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because the MBDL, which is now the G League, was never supposed to be about that. The MBDL is for basically players who could be in the NBA, but not really. Could basically venture out a career there, even though it was underfunded. That was basically a league for second tier players who probably played at best, NCAA, D2, D3,
Mm-hmm.
to go out and just carve a nice little career, on the mainland rather than going overseas.
Yep.
Like using them as a developmental has helped, but at the same time also does the younger players a disservice, because it's like you're keeping them there to the G League showcase or whatnot. And you're still putting them behind the 8 ball when they get drafted, because once they're onto the NBA team, they're gonna send your ass right back.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was the purpose of you avoiding college? That's why I say college is important.
College is important for every aspect, not just basketball purposes, but life purposes.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think every player should have to stay all 4 years or 3 years in college, but you have to be in. You don't learn everything you need to learn about the game in 1 year.
No.
No matter how good, how legendary the coach is, Cal or Coach K, or crazy ass Bobby Knight, none of them would ever teach you anything in 1 year that you would be able to take for a 15, 20-year career. That's not how it works. Now, some people are blessed to just be able to up and go, but it doesn't work like that. And sometimes 4 years shows you how you may not be good enough. We saw Christian Laettner stay 4 years. Christian Laettner was a dog in college. He got to the NBA and he was garbage.
You see the difference. Some people may be good on that level, but when you go to the next level in terms of the NBA, sometimes life might be bright, and that's what college is supposed to be. That's what it used to be. It's to be a barometer. Now, unfortunately, because of the LeBron stories, the Moses Malone, Dwight Howard, KG, Kobe, those types of Amari Stoudemire as well. The fact that they made it from prep to pro and became success stories, they feel that everybody falls along the line of that, and it created a pipeline for that for quite some time. Like, not everybody's going to be a LeBron. Not everybody's going to map out like Kobe. Like, they had their grind to where they were, it was because they were actually gifted, like supremely gifted, and they had to work on their gift to make them the household names that they are today. And I think that those kids today don't want to work as hard because they just want their name out there and not the work that comes with it.
It's very unfortunate that it's like that, but the only way things change is if players fight for that change.
It has to come from within too. It has to come from within as well, because it's like it's you can't. As much as I'm a LeBron fan, you can't basically say like, yo, like the league ain't the way it's supposed to be because like certain things are not happening. If you're a part of the reason because you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah, if you're part of the problem.
And B, like you're not voicing enough of what you feel to these players because you want to basically be hands off of it. Your hands are sullied enough already. Might as well go through all the way through and just basically get to the point where you're trying to get to, because how else are you supposed to grow the game? I'm pretty sure right now, if Kobe was still here, he'd be doing it because he cares about the game so much that you have to care about what the game you're supposed to get out of the game, not because of what some nerd punched numbers on a computer projecting what you could be. You cannot allow someone to say what your projection is of what you could be, and then you don't work as hard to get there because you feel that that's supposed to give you that spot already. That sense of entitlement is also what killed the aspect of the love of the game. Because if you know you're going to get a bag, why do I got to work hard? LaMelo Ball was popular since he was 13 years old. And looking at him now, as talented as he is, I don't think he loves the game. He's talented as fuck. But you can tell you when he's on the floor, he doesn't give a fuck about the game because as long as he jacks up his like logo threes and gets close to like 30, maybe like 8 rebounds, 9-10 assists, shooting 44%, that's good enough for him because he's making $200 million a year. Or $200 million in his contract. Excuse me. It's nasty work, bro.
It's supremely nasty work. And again, it goes back to what do you do? Like, what can you do? You can't do much about it.
If David Stern couldn't stop it, then Adam Silver,
he's in for a time for sure.
He's in for it because, like, how do you basically redirect what the game is supposed to be when a lot of the outside noise surrounding the league is influencing the negative aspects of it rather than the actual product? And I hate to use wrestling. That's what happened to wrestling as well.
That's exactly what happened to wrestling.
It's like too many people outside. And I hate to use AEW as a euphemism, but it's just like you expect the fact that the bare minimum is good enough for them is scary. Because what more do you want? It's great to see flippy shit, but you gotta know. Another thing is you gotta know exactly who is your star. Not everybody you have you parade and put in the front is a major star. You gotta find one to know, like, yo, this is the person I'm gonna push and make the face of the league or the face of my product. And when you don't have one, why are people gonna give a fuck?
Yeah, why should I give a fuck about a league that it's not promoting, it's not pushing somebody I can get behind, good or bad?
You need villains, just like wrestling. You need baby faces. You need heels. You need a great team. Right. You need a villain team, and you need that one team that you would hope, or that one player you would hope take that juggernaut down. You need a Kawhi Leonard story to take down those Warriors. Right. You need that. There's none of that in the league right now because you're just focused more so on high volumes of threes and the overall positive plus or net rating or plus minus or advanced stats to drive that. It's great.
Stupid shit. They focus on stupid shit. You focus on too much on stupid shit, right? And not enough on the aspect
actual game.
The actual game. We were talking about basketball and wrestling have so many, they have so many parallels. Like right now, LeBron is on his retirement track. LeBron James is the John Cena of basketball, right? LeBron James has had the "let's go Cena sucks" type of deal go on for his whole career.
Pretty much.
And as Cena goes off to the sunset, into the sunset at the end of this year, and as LeBron potentially goes off into the sunset within this year or the next season, again, it goes back to wondering who is next. And it's a messed up thing to kind of. It's not messed up, right? It's not messed up.
It's a valid question.
It's a valid question. Who is next? Who is the person that's like, yo, oh yeah, I want to be like Mike, right? So now, where you turn? Turn to the W, right? And people don't want to hear that, and especially for the people who don't watch the W. But now you turn to the W.
Caitlin Clark.
Look at the Caitlin Clarks. Look at our future goat Asia Wilson, right?
Sabrina Nescu, Brianna Stewart,
right? All of them. What is her name? Why is her name escaping me right now?
Well, the one that plays Arike?
Yes, her too. And
Fire.
what is her name? Oh, her name is escaping me right now.
She on the Lynx?
No, Chicago Sky.
Angel Reese or Cardoza?
Angel Reese. Why Angel Reese's name is not popping up for me right now, but I have no idea why. But anyway, that's Eric's favorite player for off the court reasons. But
and that's the fucked up part because she is a basketball player.
Yeah, she's a dog, and me not remember her just sick brain right now, but like. Yeah, I'm sick. Shit, like I'm cold. I forgot.
No, it's not. I know.
But Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark are the Magic and Bird of the next decade. That's how they're building it. But we also have our MJ right now in Angel Wilson, who's like, hey, don't forget about me.
Hey.
It's my league, right? And it's still her league. To me, it's still her league.
Yeah.
It's still her league. Yes. Liberty won the championship this year.
About fucking time.
Cool. We got a New York team that won the championship.
We got one.
In my heart, the Lynx probably should have won that. But it's okay. We're going to take it. Shout out to the referees. Those referees are the same ones that's on Pat Mahomes' payroll. Right
listen. The one time the refs were on a New York team side, I'll take it.
Whoa! Like I was like,
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Wow, this script stuff is actually real.
I was like, nigga, I'll take it. Shit.
I was like, bro, like when I was watching that game, I had to get off the fucking train. I had to get off the G train.
Yo,
but we crossed to go home.
Yeah.
So I had to get off the G train at the next stop at 21st, because I needed to see the final play.
Yeah.
They missed a shot and they go into overtime. So now I'm in that train station. I let like 3 trains pass until they finally won. I was like, cool, I can get on train to go home. But Jesus, man.
Yeah, it was hard. It was gut wrenching. A lot of stress. But we got one.
We got one. We'll take it. We got.
I'll take it.
One. Oh man.
If Ben Taylor did his job last night, would have had a 10-game win streak.
Okay. We'll be all right.
No. I'm good. It's just that Ben Taylor's an ass of a ref, though.
He is. Can't wait till he's up for the Hall of Fame, and then you're like, he can't get
Fred VanVleet be like, nah, fuck Ben Taylor.
Nah, fuck Ben Taylor. But the last thing, real quick, for us to talk about, the teams that have to make what teams will have to make a splash before the trade deadline?
Golden State, the Lakers.
If you had to pick three,
Yeah, Golden State, LA,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I would say the Magic.
I know for the first two, but why do you say the Magic?
Um, I think the Magic have enough bigs to support. I know the Magic have enough bigs on that team, and they're wing heavy already. I would probably trade one of their bigs for like an extra wing or extra scorer off the bench because they do need more shooting. Like that's another team that I enjoy watching because of how they play because they don't play like everybody else. But that's a team that if they do need more scoring to be more of a threat, I would basically make that trade. And if I'm Detroit, if the money's actually if the money does work, I'd probably go for Tobias Harris. Even though like, you know, even no. The reason why I say that is because he doesn't have to do much. Not much is going to be expected of him. So if from a secondary unit, if all is needed to you is a score, and you're about 6'9", and Paolo's going to basically be rehabbing himself much of the rest of the season anyway. Even though he's back. So I'd rather have someone that I know can support Paolo coming off the bench. I'm already good at the 5. I could use Jonathan Isaac at the 5. I got to move one of them bigs to make something work.
Tobias kind of ass though.
No, I know, but he doesn't have to do much with that team. Like we're not expecting him to give me 20 points. If you can give me like a cool 10 or 11 points, easy. When Paolo needs rest, like he can give it to you. Like I'm not saying like he's going to be an impact player, but if you can supplement some of the offense when Paolo's out, why not explore it? And they do need some scoring, like in pinches. They need scoring in pinches. I'm not asking them to make a home run play. Make a play that you can get someone that can score in a pinch. You need that on your team, and that's why I say like go for Tobias Harris, and I put Magic as my third team.
Okay, I get you. Tobias Harris just cost too much, honestly. So I don't see him doing it, but I understand why they would do it.
Or get a Bogdanovich from Sacramento or
Bogdanovich, and either one of them would be good for the Magic for sure.
I'll probably get a Bogdanovich who can just get it going and shoot.
Yeah.
Or Blake Monk if they're looking to get out of his deal at Sacramento.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that you can go for the Lakers. Like if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'd stop being a pussy and go after Zach LaVine already. You have the pieces. If you want LeBron to go out right and at least compete, legitimately compete for a championship and not no bullshit, put a makeshift team together so they can just make the playoffs to actually compete, I get a Zach LaVine. Because Zach LaVine can basically supplement the scoring nights where AD sometimes decides to be like ass. And when age is basically aging for one night when it comes for LeBron. So like if I'm Rob Pelinka, I would do that. Like sure you can get a Kyle Kuzma to make it cheaper, but if you really want to win a championship or be in contention of it, you got to make a splash in Zach LaVine. He's younger at this stage of his career. He's going to be 30 by the end of the year, but you'd want him because he can shoot on all 3 levels. You don't have to worry about him being an inefficient 3-point shooter because he can shoot that thing. He's a swing man. He can get to the lane. He can shoot free throws at a high clip and take so much of the scoring pressure off of LeBron. I know y'all love Austin Reeves, but it's time. You got to give it up. If you want to win, you got to give something to get something.
The problem is every time they get rid of one of those white boys, they go to another team
and they go crazy. But
they go crazy.
Listen, at this point, Chicago's trying to rebuild anyway. The Lakers are trying to basically maximize Bron's window.
Give up Rui.
You could give up Rui.
Yep, give up Rui. Rui for LaVine and Kobe White. Now you have your point guard.
I would do that.
Either
I would do that.
Levine and Lonzo. One or the other. Like, you need a point
Lonzo,
guard in the.
Lonzo played well with Bron.
You need a point guard in it. I think you need a point guard in the deal for the Lakers.
But somehow, some way, you're gonna have to, get off of Austin Reeves at this point. You have to pull that trigger. So you would have to package Rui and Austin Reeves, but that would help Chicago too because you get two young pieces. Lonzo's still young enough to basically compete in the league, and you can get another 2-3 years healthy out of a Zach LaVine with an AD once LeBron retires, and then you can just retool how you're retooling because you already got Dalton Connect. You got Max Christie. You got Max Christie, so they got good young pieces. So exactly, so they have pieces that they can trade. So I'm like, if I'm Rob Pelinka, why am I being so fucking pussy? Like you say, I know Magic would have made the deal. Mitch Kupchak would have made the deal. Jerry West would have made the deal. The fact that Rob Pelinka at times is using like Band-Aids to help the Lakers' biggest cut is doing a disservice in LeBron's tenure, because if you really were about chasing the Celtics, one, you wouldn't have dismantled the team after 2021. And two, you would have gotten this team a lot better help to supplement the years LeBron and AD at their best while you still had them. Like, again, if I'm them, I'd make that deal.
I agree. And we know this Golden State just needs to make a deal for Steph Curry before Steph Curry is no longer just.
It ain't gonna happen because no one's gonna deal with the Warriors. No one's gonna deal with the Warriors like after what y'all did to us for years. Nah, suffer.
Shoot, they're gonna look at how the whole Klay Thompson situation. And they're probably like, so on my list, I have the Lakers on there as well. I have the Lakers. They have to make a move this year. It has to be this year. They, in theory, they could wait till next year for his farewell tour. But if LeBron decides it's over, so that's why you have to do it this year. Do it this year. Believe it or not, I'm gonna say the Milwaukee Bucks as well. They have to make a move. Yeah, they need a move. They need a move, and the reason why they need a move is because they're very injury prone. I would get off Chris Middleton while I still can. I would get off one of these young kids as well, as much as I don't want to. But this is the Doc Rivers way. So Doc Rivers should be Doc Rivering right now and getting rid of some of these people, some of the pieces to make it more of a Doc Rivers type of team. Right. You can keep Brooke. At some point in time, you're gonna have to decide between Brooke and
Bobby Portis.
And Bobby Portis. And more likely than not,
it has to be Portis at this point.
It has to be Portis, right? Because Portis gives you more value. Yeah. So, in the third team, I'm going to say it's probably, what's the third team I thought of? The third team is Miami Heat. And it's not just Jimmy Butler wise. It's around. They always need to make a move.
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson contract needed to go since they gave it to him. That shit just needs to go since they gave it.
It's gotta go.
It needs to go since they gave it to him. Keep Tyler Hero. Keep Bam.
Start building around those two. Like, you gotta reprioritize that team, but start building around those two.
Build around those two, and you'll be fine.
I'm not saying rebuild, but just build around those two.
And then the young center who's also a dog that they got in the draft, give him some run as well. But get Jimmy off the books, get Duncan Robinson off the books for sure, and go from there. Get Terry Rozier off the books, absolutely, like expeditiously. Get him off the books. I was like, oh, this should be all right, and it has not been all right at all. So get him off the books. we were better off with Kyle Lowry, like at this point. And go from there. And go from there. But Jimmy has to go, and I love Jimmy, but you have to let Jimmy go. Yeah. You gotta let Jimmy go. And this would be the right Pat Riley thing to do. This is not one of those things where, you're submitting to the player. It's one of those things where you see the production that Jimmy's giving you. You also look at what you said. Jimmy Butler is not a regular season player. He's a playoff type player. He'll have his spurts in the regular season, but as a Pat Riley ran team, you don't want your team having to fight out of the play-in every single time to get into the playoffs.
You know the funny thing
literally playing the extra game, or maybe 2 extra games.
Like, I just thought of something. I was like, the Sixers have the most fun. The Sixers could do the funniest thing right now with the Paul George experiment. Trade him to Miami. And then Embiid gets Jimmy back, and then all of a sudden their season turns around and like, LOL, they fuck up and they're in the finals.
They're in the finals.
I'm like, yo, Philly could do the funniest thing right now.
Philly could do it right now. But Pat Riley not gonna take the contract on. So
nah, he won't.
No. But any parting words on this latest episode of the Run the Break podcast?
Oh no, man! I think we ran the break. Much of this episode. We had some fast breaks. We kind of slowed it down. Had some, we kind of settled in the half court a little bit and kind of space out the floor as well. So other than that, I think we executed our game plan well tonight.
Absolutely, coach. Absolutely, coach. Absolutely, coach. I'm just a point guard. I just run. You tell me what plays to run. But shout out to everybody on the Job of Ted. Shout out to everybody on the Your Sports Show Network. Also, shout out to the Job of Ted Network.
Yes. Shout out to them.
Network, which is the original home of the Your Sports Show, which is co-branded under the Your Sports Show Network. So shout out to the Job of Ted Network. Wilkins, Janelle, Black. Shout out to them. Again, I'm always gonna have love for them because they gave me the start. They gave me the platform to start, and they gave me the outlet to and help me and to help everybody around me. Especially that's how we came across each other. We met.
That's true.
So shout out to them. But shout out to the Your Sports Show Network. Queen Tay, the voice of Generation Pete Rosado, BK Matt, the People's Champ Randy, and Grizz. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Backstage Brawl.
We back tomorrow.
They back tomorrow at 3:30. It'll be by the time this drops, it would have already aired. So if you didn't listen to it, listen to it.
We'll be live tomorrow.
Yeah, they will be live tomorrow. I'll probably pop my head in and say what's up.
Yes,
so for the People's Champ Randy, it is your boy, the Wise Brother, aka Big Baby, signing off. Peace.